Hello everyone, welcome to Liberal Tarot. I'm Sherry, a blue dot in a red state, utilizing Tarot to offer insight into these very interesting times we have going on here in the United States. So I'm really glad that you're here and welcome. The focus of today's reading is going to be take 3 of trying to do a reading about the militarization of Chicago, or I should say the potential of that. And the reason this is my 3rd attempt is yesterday I tried recording apparently 2 readings, and the same thing happened in both, which was, I know that they're asking this, but it's really this that you need to know about. And it was, yes, they're gearing up to do this, but what happened is Trump's demise. And so actually, several of the readings I did yesterday, it was all like it all starts and then Trump is no more. So, and that it all just kind of falls apart after that. So what I want to do, fresh day, fresh energy, fresh deck, the whole thing, is try again to see if I can get kind of past the okay, I know that Trump is in horrible health. He is not long for this earth, but our government still continues. So that I'm trying to break through kind of that energy, and we'll see what happens. We'll see if I get through that or not. So for entertainment purposes only, what I want to look into is the militarization of Chicago. One, is it going to happen? And then if it does happen, kind of what does that look like? Okay. For entertainment purposes only, looking at the militarization of Chicago, just that whole base reading into what does that look like? What is that? The outcome of that, just that whole thing. Militarization of Chicago. Okay. And if you all have not seen that press conference and speech that Governor Pritzker did on Monday, I think that was the 25th, it was fantastic. I mean, he rose to the occasion very well. Okay, so the center of this, the here and now, is the restrictions, feeling stuck, feeling trapped. The challenge to this is, how are we going to move forward? How are we moving through this? So let me keep going. This is major arcana. This is the minor arcana. So even though this is the here and now, if I'm comparing these two, it looks as though that Chicago's going to move through this. Like, their energy is stronger than the military energy. That if this is the military, Chicago is stronger. Okay. With the options, this charging forward, racing ahead, not thinking through the consequences, all of that. That's the energy coming in. Okay. Very chaotic energy that is coming in. The foundation of this is victory. Recent is the Star card. Okay. And the world, okay, yes, I am getting I'm getting almost the same thing again, but I'm gonna, keep going here with this. I think that this is, when I'm looking through this, the foundation of this is wanting to claim victory, and that's what Trump is doing. He's saying, oh yeah, the military needs to go in. We need to do this. Then the recent experiences, the lies that he's told. Okay, the lies that he's told because he wants to use the military. As far as these cards, feeling stuck, feeling trapped, and then moving forward, I wonder what this ace or this 8 of swords is. What's more about this 8 of swords? Okay, with the 8 of swords, it's like the burden, planting seeds for the future. Okay. So with take 3, this is what's coming up. And this actually ties very nicely into another reading that is going to be posting. I'm thinking here, I'll probably post it first because that would make this make more sense. So you will have already seen my reading that I did on the podcast. I've had it podcast, and they questioned, is this like the authoritarian ramp up to try to get things in place before Trump exits so that Vance can have like more support, more like literal, like we're well on that authoritarian ramp up so that Vance doesn't have to try to do as much because he does not have the political capital to do this. So what's coming up here is, yes, that's what this is. This is the militarization ramp up to try to give Vance support. And the reason I'm saying that is, there's a lot of reasons I'm saying that, but I'm going to come back down here and kind of go through that with you. For this to be coming up, I mean, I don't think that Trump I don't think he's long for this earthly realm right now, because it just keeps coming up really strong. And as I try to get past that, it's just not going past that. I am going to be doing a reading though about like when the blessed event occurs, and I'm talking about Trump's death, not the militarization of Chicago. What is going to happen? Because it's like life still goes on. Our government still has to function. We still have things. And like right now, what I'm getting is just like this, Vance does not have the political power. And I look at that, like what the cards are saying, and I'm like, but I'm just not seeing, like, we got to get past this. That's what I'm saying. So I'm going to come down here and I'm going to explain this, and then we'll go from there. So the reason I'm saying this is that the very center of this is here and now, feeling stuck, feeling restricted. And that is absolutely how Trump is feeling in his mind right now and in his body, and racing forward. The military. What can I do? And this is also the challenge of going forward. So feeling stuck, and the challenge of going forward, the energy coming in is just really, the Knight of Swords I always see is that it's chaotic energy moving forward. In this deck, the Knight of Swords is facing the past, and what it's facing are the lies. Okay, I've been getting the Star card a lot, and I'm like, I know that this is not like hopes, wishes, and dreams from, MAGA. No, in the lower energy, this is going to be lies. And it's like, it's dressed up as patriotism. Oh wow, that is like the biggest feeling I'm getting from that. The lies dressed up as patriotism. And that's what the foundation of this is. The foundation is we have to do this to be victorious. Feeling stuck because he wants to do this. He wants to be able to go, forward. He really does want to militarize the United States. Okay. However, he doesn't get it done because, in past readings, when I'm doing a health reading and this card comes up, I'm going to have serious concerns about whoever's asking me that question. In this case, I'm seeing it more as a celebratory card because he just doesn't, I don't think he's long for this earth, because this energy keeps like just overtaking all of my readings here of late. And then why I finally said, because I was wanting more cards on the Eight of Swords, which I don't normally do clarifiers on the center card, but I wanted clarifiers on that. And something has become a burden. This is too much. This path is too much. It is time to lay down your burden. And yes, trying to plant seeds for the future, trying to provide Vance some kind of framework that he can work from, and then all in the name of Mad King Don Olds there. If I was I can look at this and go, if I was looking at will Chicago be militarized? Honestly, it would be like, I would have to say yes, but it's so chaotic. It's so, like, it's just, it is not done with any measure of, sanity. I mean, there's going to be a lot of legal mistakes. There's going to be a lot of mistakes that are made, and that they will, if this is something that they can take to court to be able to stop, look for that to absolutely happen. The burden of using the military is too much. It's too much. And I also kind of wonder if this isn't going to be, let me see. Let me feel. I'm feeling like, even if, like, he starts this, but then it all, like, he dies, and then the people uprise, and, like, J.D. Vance just can't hold on to keeping the military in these cities. So let me see about the burden and the Knight of Pentacles. Feeling left out in the cold, and then the decisions, legal decisions, military, and coming to an agreement. And I did kind of get that, like, agreements in those other readings. So I just don't see, it's like the military is feeling like they are, is the military going to is going to say no to Vance? Is it the military? Magician, what are we creating? What are we doing? Offering something, once again, offering something, and then the people uprise, the phoenix coming out of the ashes. Okay, so as far as the militarization of Chicago, I understand that what the news is saying, which is, yes, the military is ramping up, the military is getting ready to go, they're going to do this. What I can say is that Chicago's absolutely fighting back. If there's any way to take this to court, they will. And that the big feeling I'm getting is the mistakes that are being made that Governor Pritzker can use in legal cases to try to stop this. That's what I'm feeling. And then, and I think that he will be successful if this isn't Trump checking out. And then it's too much of a burden. It is not in the DNA of the American people to be ruled by a wannabe dictator. It's just not there. And that I kind of wonder if it's not the military. Like, Trump dies and the military says, we're not doing this. Our loyalty was to, Don Old there, and now we're not doing it. I mean, I really am grasping here, going, something big is going to happen. And once again, you've got these, what are we creating with things that are changes, emotional changes, what's being offered, and then the people uprise. The phoenix, rising out of the ashes. So, honestly, this is kind of what I was getting before. So, what I'm going to do, is I am just going to put all three readings together, and you're going to get this one first, and then I'll do the other two kind of in the order that I recorded them. Because, and if you guys are getting anything, especially tarot readers out there, if you see something in that and it's like, well, could it be this? Could it be that? Drop it in the comments, because as I said, I'm kind of at this impasse almost with, like, okay, like, I know. And so yeah, the militarization of Chicago feels like a turning point. That I will say for sure. The militarization of Chicago and everything surrounding that is a turning point for our country. And I really think that, like, that judgment card, I just don't see, it is not in the DNA of the American people to be going through this. And there's only so much that the American people can be pushed, and we're there. We're getting there. So that's kind of what I'm getting. Stay tuned. I'm going to stitch in those next two readings. If you just want to make a day of watching tarot, then you can do that. Pause, come back, whatever. But I did want to put those out there because we all know what happens if I ignore the energy. It'll just keep coming back like here. So I want to get that out there, and so that you can kind of see, like, what happens whenever a reading goes awry. Well, I will put those there for you. So thank you very much for joining me. I really appreciate it. I'm having a feeling that these next couple of weeks are going to be kind of interesting. So we'll get through this. Hang in there, and yeah, I'll catch you on the next reading. Have a good day. Hello everyone, welcome to Liberal Tarot. I'm Sherry, a blue dot in a red state, utilizing tarot to offer insight into these very interesting times we have going on here in the United States. So I'm really glad that you're here, and welcome. The focus of today's reading is going to be the militarization of U.S. cities. I'm going to look at both Chicago and DC. Now, both of these have kind of different rules that apply for them. For DC, the military can be there for 30 days and has to be approved by Congress after that. So I want to look into that. Is Congress going to approve that? The other thing is Chicago. It's like, I'm just going to do a base reading into that. I already know that, yes, I'm working under the assumption that, yes, it's going to happen. And I want to do a base reading into what does that look like? Like, what's going to happen? Governor Pritzker, man, that press conference that he gave and that speech, that was excellent. In fact, I think Rachel Maddow was the one who said that is a speech that the future, historians will be looking at this and as a speech to be studied about the resistance. So if you haven't seen it, highly recommend checking that out. Okay, so I think I want to do Chicago first, and then if there's time, I'll ask about, Congress and DC. Are they going to approve that in DC? For Chicago, they don't. For all the other cities, they don't. They can just go in and do. So he's creating the emergency to use the emergency powers to militarize our cities. It's a power grab. That's what he's doing, and so in another reading that I did, I'm not sure what order things come out in, but there's a podcast. I've had it. Yeah, it is so funny. They're talking just like here, talking about, the very serious things about, what's going on in our country, but they do it in a really funny way. And so laughter is a form of resistance. And the serious part of this was they were speculating is there going to be a ramp up in this authoritarian show of, in our cities to kind of try to get things in place for Vance. And so I kind of want to keep that in the back of my mind. And if there's time and like where the reading goes, I kind of want to look at that is something that is a concern. Like, they know that Trump is circling the drain. So we got to get all these people, all the chess pieces have to be there in order to prop Vance up. Okay. So that's kind of something I want to look at too. So I start with a base reading into Chicago. Just what is it that we can expect? And as always, this is for entertainment purposes only. What can we expect with the militarization of Chicago? Okay, I'm going to pause this just for 1 second. Okay, sorry about that. I have a cat called Schrodinger, and there's a whole reason why he's called that, but he's a little crazy. Like, it's almost like he's not feral, but it's almost like having a wild bobcat in my house, and I get along with him just fine. He's actually a really cool cat. He's just a little rough around the edges, and he loves scratching on boxes. And I've got a box here next to me because he loves to be near me. And he was in there starting to claw on the boxes, and I was like, "Oh, you guys don't need to hear that." I remember Abby rubbing up on my on the phone stand, and I was like, "What is that sound?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, Abby." So did not want you guys to hear because it sounds like he's like tearing things apart. I mean, he has got some serious murder mittens on him. So, sorry, reading interrupted by a cat. And Schrodinger is one of my 3 tabbies. So, yes, I have 3 tabbies. Okay, so back to this. Looking at the militarization of Chicago. Just base reading, what can we expect from all of that? And entertainment purposes only. Looking out into the world, this is also can be agreements. It's also messaging. The challenge to this is Mad King Don. The options, and this is the happy married couple under the canopy. What this is telling me is Governor Pritzker was out there saying there's nothing wrong with our city. Our crime rate is down like 30%. There are other cities, and interestingly enough, red cities and in red states that have a higher crime rate than Chicago, and yet why is the military not going in there? So this is, I think, going to be just that messaging about Chicago's crime rate is going down. There's no reason for the military to be there. The foundation, Ace of Pentacles. This is the aces are new beginnings. Pentacles is going to be any that tangible stuff, security, and that actually could be, Mad King Don here is saying, oh, we have to do this for the security of your city and for the citizens. And Pritzker's out there going, no, you just need to go away. The recent influences, 10 of Cups. That's interesting that card would come up. I'm going to think about that. That's going to be, I'm going to probably put more cards on that because this is like the happy, and oh, actually, okay, let me see here. This is coming from Governor Pritzker. Okay, that makes sense because I'm sitting here going, I don't really know what this card means. Okay, I'm going to come back up here again. So I've been doing tarot for 35 years. And I always, like, when I sit down to do a reading, I'm like, what if I don't get anything? What if I, it's sort of imposter syndrome, but as I said, I've been doing this for so long, and that voice that is like, are you sure, is like, of uncertainty. And I always I'm always like, whatever, whatever. I have more experience than, my insecurity on this. So that was just really, because I had that moment of panic of, oh my God, what if this has been a self-fulfilling prophecy? And so I'm out there, I'm telling you this because 1, I always want to be authentic. And 2, I think that, for me, there's moments where it's like, I don't like, what am I getting here? Like, this doesn't make any sense to me. And so, yes, it happens to even the best of us. Okay, this is coming from the viewpoint of Governor Pritzker. Okay, that we have our city is just fine. Okay, people are happy. He had the video of he's out there walking, the park or the river, whatever, riverfront, whatever it was that he was walking. I mean, like the families are happy. We're doing great here. We do not need the military because the military is not going to help people feel safe. So yeah, this is going to be the messaging that he is doing about his city, and the challenge is what Dawn is doing. They're secure, they're happy, they don't need Dawn in there. Messaging about happy and the messaging. Okay, that's what that is. Okay. So what's going to happen? Because I'm under the assumption that the military is going to be sent. Let me just ask, is Dawn Old here going to send the military to Chicago? And I'll just do 3 cards. I know that they're gearing up and they're doing all of the preparations, but let's just do a check-in and see. Is the military going to be sent to Chicago? Not being happy with what's being offered. And once again, this could be coming from the governor, not liking the news he's hearing. He wants to put an end to it. And the betrayal. That just still doesn't tell me if the military is going to be sent in. Because if I was looking at this, I would be, I mean, just those 3 cards, I would say no. And that does not, because I know they've been getting ready. Is the military going into Chicago? Wheel of Fortune, holding on to political power. You know, with what I'm getting here, and I have been getting this in the past few readings that I've done, I don't know that this is going to happen. And remember, the challenge here is Dawn. Okay? He is not doing well health-wise at all. Okay? And I know in the comments somebody said, do you know when? It's like, oh my God, that's the $1 million question. And if I knew when, and I don't do dates, and I'm sorry, but what I said is it's sooner rather than later. He's not doing well. And just that energy is, yeah, he's not doing well. And so I'm wondering, because I'm asking about the military and I'm getting like not being happy with what's being offered. This comes to an end, and, you know, heart, we know he's exhibiting signs of heart failure. And so his heart, if he dies, this doesn't, like, I don't see it going forward. You know, karma, the Wheel of Fortune, and I really like this because it's like, you know, things change. This is about the wheel moves forward, okay? So those that are on top, you know, or on bottom, the wheel keeps turning. Karma, trying to hold on. He's trying to hold on, but his mind is, he's out there somewhere. His mind is gone. I mean, and we see it. I mean, you know, we see it. You know, that Monday he held 3 press conferences, and the press pool was like, we don't know what's going on. There's no reason for this to be happening. Like, that's not normal. I'm going to turn my light up here real quick. Oh, that's better. Okay, there. It was like, oh, that's getting a little dark. So I think a cloud just went over or something. So yeah, I get that his mind is just not like, this is new beginnings and emotions, and it's like his mind is that of a child. That's kind of what I'm feeling with this. So I'm not seeing that, and I've asked several times about that. So let me ask this. What is going to happen in Chicago as far as the military goes for the next week? Let's ask for the next week. Because I think they were kind of expecting this to be, you know, soon. So will the military be in Chicago sometime within the next week? People overcome, strength. And this could also be a show of strength from the military. That Wheel of Fortune, things moving, you know, the fate. If the military is there, what I was feeling from these 2 cards is literally, do you hear the people sing? It's like the uprising that will occur from this. You know, in my Rider-Waite deck, you know, it shows the hand cranking the wheel, and, you know, the people overcome and overcoming. I don't think, I mean, this may be way off base, but I'm just not seeing, you know, is the military going to be deployed to Chicago? Something being offered, false friend, or, actual happy changes towards something positive and feeling left out in the cold. Okay. I know that quite literally everything in the news is pointing towards the military being deployed in Chicago. That's not what I'm seeing in the cards today. I am seeing that there is going to be something else that occupies the news and the government to where they're not doing that. That's what I'm getting. So and also I'm just not, it's just not coming up. So when that happens, it's like, and you saw, I asked a lot, it's just not coming up that way. It's coming up that Pritzker is like, no, get out of our city. We don't want you here. What also came up was, we're happy. Our crime rate is down. You have other red cities that you have higher crime rates. There wasn't anything in here about the courts stopping it. I didn't ask, but let me just ask, are the courts, I don't know that the courts could stop it. So, is that something that even the courts could stop? Are the courts going to stop it? You still get that Wheel of Fortune, agreements, things that are discussed, and the maybe the courts, the courts could stop it. I didn't really see that in any of the reporting. I don't know what kind of legal recourse, because I know that LA tried doing that, and the courts, there wasn't really, I don't think anything, it came back like the courts said there wasn't anything they could do, that Trump had the right to do that. So maybe it has a different court outcome there in Chicago. So, okay, that will be one I absolutely keep watching. But right now, it's like what I'm seeing was just a bunch of, like, it starts and then there's something else that moves the news story off of this. And so, with DC, because of the laws that are different governing DC, I want to know, is Congress going to approve that? Congress would have to approve for longer than 30 days. And I know what I keep getting, like all this other stuff. So I want to go ahead and put this out because I'm curious, like, what's going to come out with this? Because as I said, I'm not seeing that happen. I'm seeing other pressing matters besides Chicago. So let's come here and see. Will Congress approve militarization of DC for Don Old? Are they going to approve that? Okay, and our government, I'm just looking here, and it's like, this looks like it's like the church and people praying in this card. I just want to kind of take a moment with that. The challenge is the Magician. Things are up in the air. These are both major arcana cards. Things that, like, creating something. And that's the challenge. Our government, and the challenge is creating. Okay. Options. Gosh, you saw me shuffle. I keep getting this Wheel of Fortune. Okay. Wheel of Fortune, not being happy with what's being offered. Recent. And weighing our options. What's this Wheel of Fortune? I keep getting this Wheel of Fortune, and I wonder if this is, I'm kind of wondering if this isn't like the change of fortune here in the United States. That's kind of what I'm kind of feeling with that. A change. So what is that? our country, racing forward, things, and planting seeds. This is not about, okay, I'm just going to read this, and it's like I feel like I'm trying to put this into Congress, like whether or not Congress voted. And that's not what I'm feeling with this. So, like, that's not what this is. So let me just look here. Our government and the challenges, what are we creating? The foundation is not happy with what we have, not happy with what's being offered. Creating our recent influences and recent events. Deciding what it is we want, like new beginnings with aces, moving forward, like our fortunes have changed. We get to make decisions back and forth. In this, it's also got, like ships up there, sky ships. If you watch, is it Ghost? No, land ships. That's what it is. Land ships. Thor calls cars land ships. Anyway, yeah, so that's got choices to be made, balancing two things, two ideas, Republicans and Democrats coming together in some way. And then for our country, quickly, like we need to, we got some stuff to fix really quick, and then stability, security, planting seeds for the future. What is it that we want? I understand that I am asking about this stuff in DC, and I'm asking about the Chicago stuff. That is not what's coming up here at all. I mean, you even saw in that first, like, what is this? Like, I don't know what this is. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and post this reading. I'm going to go back, I'm going to watch it again. And if I have additional insight, I'll put it in the description. So make sure you look at that. If I had to guess what this is, it's feeling like the aftermath of what our government does after Trump. Okay, that's what this is feeling like. This is not feeling like, I mean, like, I know that they said they're sending the military into Chicago. I know that there's supposed to be, Congress has to vote on whether or not they stay, in DC past 30 days. What I'm seeing with this is none of that matters, because the news cycle is getting ready to change. So, and that this is really more about decisions that we're going to make for our country. And how are we going? Like, we got to quickly figure this out. This is like, oh my God, what are we going to do? We have to do something. And those, what do we want? What seeds are we planting? And this just gave me the feels of like our fortune is changing. That's, because honestly, this is kind of where we are right now, but we're the karma card is coming for Trump, and our fortunes are getting ready to change. And I was asking about Congress, and I think this is like coming together. We have so not been happy. We have not been happy. 37% approval rating for this just absolute shit administration. And time for something new, something, it's time for, like, that's a new beginning for the lives of the people in America in a positive way. And, the government and the challenge is, what is it that we're going to create? I mean, I read those cards and it's like, oh yeah, that's exactly what that says. And so that's why I've been struggling going, this is not about the militarization of DC or of Chicago. So, yeah, I don't know what to say other than this is a message. I will post it because I have learned that what happens if I don't post, weird readings like this. So I don't know what to say. It's so weird whenever this stuff happens. I read what I read. What comes up, comes up. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to sign off of this reading, and I'm going to get a different deck, get a different deck out and see if I can get some different things on that. Because I know that people really want to know about, people would rather know, I don't know, like, if you live in Chicago, you're probably like, I really want to know, like, what's going to happen. But the rest of us are like, is he really going to? And it's like, that's kind of what it's looking like. That people of Chicago, this may not happen because of other things that are going on in the world. So at least in the United States. I don't even know. I'll put another reading up here, maybe like that. I really don't want to revisit that last hijacked reading because I'm just sobbing. And anyway, I may put that one there. I'll put something there. So thank you for joining me. I really do appreciate it. And I will catch you on the next reading, which may be about, the militarization of DC and Chicago. So thank you very much. I will catch you on the next reading. Hello everyone, welcome to Liberal Tarot. I'm Sherry, Blue Dot, Red State, utilizing Tarot to offer insight into these very interesting times we have going on here in the United States. So I'm really glad that you're here and welcome. The focus of today's reading is going to be take 2 of trying to look into the militarization of Chicago. So I didn't get my reading hijacked quite as bad as what I did in the other readings, but and I went ahead and I finished the reading. I may post that this weekend, but I'm sitting here going, I have no idea what this is. And I even went in through the, occasionally I have imposter syndrome and maybe that's what this is. And, there are always signs that my readings are going to be going off track. And you would think that I would have learned by now. But, when I'm doing these recordings, I'm like, I'm just trying to do a really good job. And anyway. So that happened. That was a thing that happened. So I'm going to ask again about the militarization of Chicago. And what is that going to happen? So for entertainment purposes only. I will post that reading so you can get the whole intro and everything into that. But yeah, that was kind of wild. I was like, I have no idea what this is talking about. Okay, militarization of Chicago. Is that going to happen? Base reading. What does it look like? All of that stuff. I even, in that other reading, I'm like, I'm going to go get another deck. Maybe that'll help. I mean, what I know now, since I made it through that reading, I can laugh. It was kind of, I'm laughing at myself. It was kind of funny. Okay, so Chicago. What do we need to know about the militarization of Chicago? Okay, for entertainment purposes only. This is one of those same cards I got, And Governor Pritzker did say, we're happy, we're fine. We do not, this is a safe city. Families, are out here at the park with their kids. And if you have not seen that press conference, that speech that Governor Pritzker did, let's see, I'm recording this on Tuesday. Yeah, it's Tuesday, Monday. On August, what would that have been? Probably the 25th. Go watch that speech. It is excellent. Okay. So, and this really does embody whenever he was talking about Chicago, this is what that card embodies. Okay. The challenge to their happy way of life is the military. Okay. It's the military coming in, and that's what they want to stop. The options are, how can we hold on to our city? How can we hold on? Okay. And even look here at the city skyline here. And what is it that we can do to provide safety and security for our citizens? And they've made a lot of progress. He was talking about how crime is down 30%, and that there are red cities who have higher crime rates than Chicago, but yet don't see the military going there. Okay. The foundation of this is, how can we block this? How can we stop this? That, or it is blocked, it is stopped. So I'll put more on that. The recent influence, Queen of Pentacles. We take care of our citizens. We take care of our communities. We take care of our people. We offer, security. That's kind of what I'm feeling with this. It's the tangible things. We offer security, and then the queen, is a caregiver. So taking care of people, and that's what we do in a very tangible way, in a very measurable way. Okay. And then the potential Two of Cups, how can we come to an agreement? There's some kind of like, I have not heard that. Well, in fact, Governor Pritzker said no, they have not talked to him at all. So I'm wondering what this Two of Cups is. What agreements, partnerships he's going to come to? Like, are they going to, I was going to say, is the military going to refuse? But they're already making preparations for this. Well, what is this Two of Cups? And the Two of Cups, I will never not think of South Park whenever I see this card. I'm just saying. When this card comes up and I start laughing, just know South Park. Okay, so agreements. And notice here, it's like this is almost, well, I was going to say, this is almost like the Lover's card. And then I realized, oh, this is the Minor Arcana version of the Lover's card. So this is people who have come here of their own free will. And then here, this is like being chained to, you know, the toxicity. Okay, so the agreements are, I'm kind of feeling like, how do we break free from this toxicity that, you know, is all things Trump? What is it that we can offer? What is it like we can do? Page of Pentacles, also MAGA here with the red hats. And things just like fall apart, come apart. You know, all roads lead to the Tower card. And kind of what I was getting in that other reading is that there's going to be something... There's going to be something that moves the news story off and the concern off Chicago onto something else. I wonder what that could be. You know, Trump's health and, you know, this, you know. So if they try doing this, this does not bode well for them. If they try sending the military in, because this is that toxicity. We don't want you here, get out, and then the Tower card of how it just kind of blows up in their face. I want to know more about, actually, I want to know more about these two cards here with the Devil and the Tower card. What can we know about those two cards? Especially if you've got these agreements here. I'm going to go ahead and put that up there. What is it in Chicago that we need to know about this? Is the military going to be deployed? Wealthy woman, seeing, you know, like the fruition, seeing your hard work come to fruition, and then this is like you've accomplished, and a lot of pentacles here. And happy home. This is not like, I ask about the military, and this is like, no. I think that something else is going to be happening that's going to prevent the military from being used in Chicago. I mean, that's kind of the gist of what I got in that other reading. That you'll see it. I will post that on Sunday. May have a new intro once I go back and kind of look at it to kind of figure out like, what the hell was that? But what I'm getting here is that if the military is there, it's not for very long, because it's like there's some kind of agreement made. I don't know, you know, of political security, power. I wonder if it's like the courts, but it was like the courts, they didn't stop them in LA. So I don't know why they would stop them. You know, that is something I'll watch. And then you get these two cards. These two cards together does not, this is not a happy time. This is not a pleasant time. This is toxicity, and it comes to it like things, you know, that explosive energy with, yeah, the Tower card. So I just don't see. And then when I asked, is the military going to be deployed? This is like wealthy woman, you know, fruits of your labor here, and, you know, reaping your rewards, and the stability and security. Even in, I'm trying to think, in like a lower energy, taking what isn't yours, keeping it all for yourself. But I'm saying that, and I'm like, that's not what those cards mean. That's not what that means at all. So yeah, that's really weird. I am going to say that if they are deployed, it's not going to be for very long, because I think that Trump is going to have a health event. That is going to there is going to be something that happens in this country that makes sending troops to Chicago a moot point. Okay, that's really what's coming up here. Let me ask, because I tried asking this in that other reading, and then it just didn't. It did not. It was not about Congress at all. So let me ask: is Congress going to stop? Where am I at on time here? Oh, yeah, I got plenty of time. I'm going to ask about, is Congress going to, they have to pass the resolution to keep the military there in D.C., so past 30 days. So are they going to pass that? Are they going to pass the resolution, law, whatever it is that they need to pass, that gives Trump the authority to, I'm going to just lay those there, to keep the military in D.C. for longer than 30 days. I just want to make sure that I did at some point in this reading say, for entertainment purposes only. Okay. And Congress offering something that, you know, traditionally this has been my yes card. So is Congress going, you know, it's like, well, they're talking, and I'm almost getting the feeling like, are we going to give the toddler in chief like what he wants? And then the challenge to that is Mad King Don. The challenge is he is the challenge. Okay. Another King of Pentacles. This could be Congress, could be J.D. Vance coming in. Even though it's almost like I get the feeling if this is J.D. Vance, he is trying to project this image of security, stability, like he's going to steady the ship if, you know, Don here checks out. Things that are hidden, Trump's health is hidden. I'm just going to leave it at that. You know exactly what that means. And decisions that we have to make. What are these decisions? Okay, before I ask that, what I'm feeling is like there are behind the scenes discussions of what are we going to do whenever he's no more. Whenever he has exited the building, what are we going to do? What decisions? And this is actually what I was getting in that other reading too, is there's like, so as far as like, what are these decisions? Not being happy with what's being offered. I kind of wonder if they're not quite ready. Like they don't have all the support in place, all the pieces in place, because Trump dies sooner than they thought he was going to. And Vance just isn't in that, in a place to be able to, like be that strong leader like he's trying to portray. I've read this traditionally as Epstein files and the World card. Trump. This is now the second reading in a row. Okay. I don't think that this is not being happy with what's being offered. I said the Epstein files, you know, I've read this as Epstein files. It can also be like relationships, something like agreements, like we agreed to something, but now like that agreement isn't like, I know we agreed on this in the past, but now like I want to change my mind. That's kind of the feeling I'm getting with that. And it's around like the World card. And if we're talking about Trump's health, which he came up here, you know, we got Trump here and keeping, you know, hidden. And I mean, surely would we be surprised if they kept Trump's death a secret for a few days while they do whatever they need to do to get Vance installed, or like the support type things? And then you get wishes and dreams. These were the cards that just kind of flipped out as I was recording. Hopes, wishes, dreams for our country. New beginnings, something being offered, and work that needs to be done. That's what those cards are. So I've now had 2 readings, and both of them were very similar in that I got a little bit more in this one, but both of them were pretty much like there is... Okay, I'm just going to be real honest. I'm trying not to say this, but I'm just going to be real honest. It feels like Trump is more than circling the drain, and that all of this is a moot point, and that we have other things that will be taking up our attention, and that this, believe it or not, the militarization of our cities is really not going to be the big story. It wouldn't... I've gotten in the past that like the Epstein files are going to be released, and it, like Trump is going to, or he is going to be confirmed to be in them in an undeniable way, and that stress from that is what kind of, you know, moves him on out. And so that's kind of what's looking like. It's like, I know when I do tarot, and it's like, I know you're asking about this, but this is actually what you need to know about. When that happens, and I've had 2 readings in a row like that, yeah, we kind of need to pay attention to that. So I am going to